In ASP.NET MVC, you can pass data from a controller to a view by adding the data to a view data, temp data, or a view bag. However, if you prefer a strongly typed approach, you can pass data directly to the view method as a model and define the expected data type in the view. In this section, I'll show you how to pass data using the view method with a strongly typed model. But if you want to learn about the other methods, you can check out the links in this video description. Now in Visual Studio, we are already loading the data from the database, and if we check the type, we are loading a list of data.models.post. So all we need to do now in this section is to just pass the all posts to the view. Since we passed the all posts and that's some data, you need to go and modify the view and define the data type that you are expecting, which in this case is a list of posts. Let us go to Solution Explorer, then go to Views, then Home, Index. Here at the top, I'm just going to define that the model or the data type that this view expects is a list of posts. If the post in here is not recognizable, then you just need to define the path for the post. So for that, just type using and then circle app dot data dot models, and you can see that the post is enabled. If you want to also get rid of the using statement in here, there is another way. You can just go to the Solution Explorer, then go to View Imports. Let me just copy this one first. We actually cut it. And then in here, then View Imports, and just define in here that we also want to use the circle app.data.models. If you go back to index, you can see that the post is enabled. Now this is the model of this view, and this model is of type list. Now in here, let us just collapse the stories and go to the post section. Collapse this one. And the next div, you can see it's about what do you have in mind. So this is going to trigger the pop-up. Just close this one as well. And now in here, we have a div which is going to show up only when we don't have any posts. So let us first add a condition for this one. So if we have a post, we want to hide this. For that, we want to write a C# code. So if in this view's model, and the model in this case is a list of posts, we do have any posts, and this is just one way, but you can also type in here if the model.theCount is greater than 0, it means that we have some posts, but if it's equal to 0, means we don't have any posts. Only then inside the curly brackets we want to show this div. Just paste it in here, and then I can collapse. If we have any posts, this is the div that is going to be used to render the posts. So this is the main div. Then inside here we have the post heading, we have the post content, and then down here we have the post icons, and then at the end we have the comment section. So in here, let us put everything inside the for each loop. For that, I'm just going to type in here add for each, and then var post in the model. And the model in this case, we have already said, is just a list of posts. We want to render this code. Just cut and then paste it in here. Now let us scroll up and let us start changing all the hard-coded data to show the actual data from the database. Let us start with the post heading. In here, we have the user profile picture. Now, we don't need to use a hard-coded value. Instead, we can use add post.user.profilepicture URL. But if for some reason we have users that do not have profile pictures, then in that case, we can show the default one. For that, let me just cut this value, and then in here, add inside parentheses, I'm going to type string dot is null or empty. the value of the post.user.profile picture URL. So if it's empty, then I just want to use the default value. Otherwise, I want to use, so if it's empty, and here we need to use a question mark. Otherwise, I'm going to use the value of the post.user.profile picture URL. This is one way. Another way is by using the double question mark, and that is just like if the post.user.profile picture URL is empty by double question mark, use this value. And then let us add in here the closing bracket. Then down here we have the user full name. So to access that value, I'm just going to use @post.user and then .full name. And then in here, for now, I'm just going to type the time when this post was created. So for that, @post.date created. Then I can just format it using toString. And then down here, you can define the format. So for example, it's a month, then day, then year, 4 digits, then space, hour, 24-hour format, and then minutes. Let us save the changes. Now let us scroll down in here. On the post content, instead of having this hard-coded text, we want to have the actual content. So for that, @post.content. And then down here, we are going to have the image. So if the post has an image, then we want to display the image post. If not, we're just going to ignore it. So for that, I'm going to wrap this a tag inside an if condition. So if string.is null or empty, and then post.image URL. Let's add in here the exclamation mark. So if it's not empty, then we want to show this a tag. Just copy it, paste it here. And the value is going to be in here in the source. We are going to have and then post.image URL. And if it's empty, we just want to ignore it. And then down below, we are not going to add any changes for now. Let us save the changes. And then let us run this app. So then here we can see two things. The first one is that the indicator that there are no posts is removed, which is as expected. The date in here needs a little bit of improvement because it shows like 41. We need to change that. We can see that the text is in here. It looks good. But down here, we don't have the image. So let's just right click and then go to open image in new tab. We have been redirected to this page. So in this case, I'll just go to the database and simply replace the image. I'll just stop the app and go to Server Explorer. And then inside here, go to tables and then posts. Then show table data. So I just found another image. I'm just going to replace this value with the new one and then save the changes. Just press enter and that's it. Let me just run the app one more time. Now if you scroll down, you can see that we have the image. We also have the profile picture. So let's just go and fix the date. For that in here, in index, when we have the date time, not the but it needs to be uppercase for months because the lowercase is for minutes. Let's just save the changes. And then let us run the project one more time to check if everything works as expected. So now we can see that we have the date, we have the icons, we also have the comment, but we can see that it's a really long file. So on the next part, let us simplify this page.